Today on CityCast Austin, weather is truly a roller coaster, y'all. And we're lucky enough to ride it today with CBS Austin meteorologist Avery Tomasco. We're talking about July's lake-filling rain, the upcoming hurricane season, and why you should burn your Farmer's Almanac. CityCast Austin is brought to you by our exclusive launch sponsor, Tecovas. It's Tuesday, August 27th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I'm here with Avery Tomasco, meteorologist with CBS Austin. Hi, Avery. Welcome back.
Good morning, Nikki. Great to be with you.
Oh, man. I've been looking forward to this because we always have so much fun.
Because there's so much to bellyache about in the weather, and I'm here to bellyache with you.
Yes. So the last time we talked, you straight up offered to sacrifice your child in exchange for a milder summer.
He's still alive, but we accomplished the goal.
I was going to say thank you so much for that because Absolutely. It seems to have worked. And You didn't even have to sacrifice for real.
My daughter is alive and well. My dog, Jack, he lived a great life. And we wish him all the best in his afterlife endeavors. I'm kidding. He's alive and well. That's a joke.
So now here we are. It's August, and it is so hot, which is typical this time of year. When do you think we can expect to see some fall temperatures?
When are we going to get that first front? That first, oh man, it feels nice out here. It's crisp. What happened? In general, I over the last 10 years, I went back and I looked at all the data of when that first good drop in temperatures came. Morning lows, afternoon highs got better, and the average is mid-October. So we're less than 2 months away.
Is it like, since we waited so long to get super hot, that means it's going to be hot longer?
No, not necessarily. There's some bigger factors at play. First, it helped that we got rainfall that kind of slows down. It's a buffer, having that water in the soil that slows down how hot it can get. Water in the soil soaks up a lot of the sun's energy. But that's already going away, and that's why we're going through some serious heat here in August. It's not friendly. It's dangerous. The whole 9 yards. This is the typical summer heat that we've been putting back, but here it is, home to roost. Heading into the fall, when is it going to change?
Right.
The overarching factor is going to be our transition away from El Nino and towards La Nina. That, again, is the patternless fluctuation in sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean across the equator. All you need to know is that El Nino for us is good, keeps us cooler, keeps us wetter. And that's why I think partially we got some of that rainfall in July. La Nina is not good. La Nina means the Nina. No, I'm kidding. And that generally keeps us hotter and drier, especially during the fall, winter, spring seasons. So with that in mind, there are a bunch of long-range outlooks that the Climate Prediction Center issues. Those are the experts under the NOAA umbrella, and take them with a grain of salt because anything beyond 2 weeks is kind of throwing darts. But generally, it's not great. Doesn't look good. Hot and drier than average, which you would expect when you're going into La Nina. But I did some research, and there have been enough years to make it worth noting where in a transition from El Nino towards La Nina to the back half of the year, there have been some years where there's been some pretty good fall flooding.
Do you think that that's something that we should even be concerned about this year?
Oh, it's always a concern. All it takes is the right setup at the right time to get a big storm to produce a lot of rainfall in the wrong place that, can ruin lives and fill up Lake Travis. It's a catch-22. I mean, we've seen that before. October 2018, that was a big flood. That was the last big flood we've had in general. We're overdue for one. So even though we are heading into La Nina, which means hotter, drier, it can still happen. All it takes is a cold front, enough moisture from the Pacific, from the Gulf, and those combinations of factors, regardless of what else is going on, can get you a flood. So we hope for it. and we hope it happens in a way that doesn't rip up property and lives.
Right.
Let's hope that it could be possible. Otherwise, we're heading back to square one that got us into this bad drought in the extreme heat of the last 2 summers to begin with, which is La Nina.
Now, I've heard it, I've said it, that we get about a smooth 2 weeks of fall.
2 weeks, that's generous.
Yeah, like in reality, about how long are our falls here?
In general, my opinion of fall, crisp, cool mornings, nice afternoons, low humidity, some sunshine. We probably get, in the ballpark of a couple weeks of that unconsecutively. In general, anytime between November and February, it's sprinkled in. Our summer is 7 months long.
Yeah.
Ballpark. We'll sprinkle in a few other seasons in there at times over the course of a year. That comes with a mix of a catastrophic winter storm and then a couple days of fall weather and then a biblical flood and then a couple days of fall weather. You put it all together and you get a couple weeks.
And there it is.
Yeah, that's just what life is like here this far south.
But so how mild was July in comparison to previous years? Because I felt like we were handed a gift.
I know. So it feels that way, right? You know what's funny, Nikki?
Uh-oh.
It was normal. That was what July was supposed to be. This July with, so in temperatures, in the temperature department, July was normal. That's what it's supposed to be. But we were abused so viscerally by Mother Nature in 2022 and 2023 that relatively speaking, it felt like Christmas in July.
It was like a trauma response? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Even with the rain? For real?
So the rain was above average, and thank goodness we got it. We'll talk more about that, and there's some just weird irony in there. But in terms of temperatures, as nice as that was, we had some highs in the 80s, which was just biblically wonderful. You put the whole month together and it was average, even like a scotch above average. But because of how awful, record-setting heat the previous 2 summers, it felt great.
You have blown my mind. You've already blown my mind.
That's perfect.
So I want to talk about the rain. Felt like we got a ton, but how much did we get and where do we get it? And how are those aquifers?
Yeah, we got so aquifers, I'm not going to be a good resource for subject matter on that, but I can talk about lake levels, which is much more important for our overall water supply. You betcha.
Oh yeah, we talked about this last time. Yes.
We did. Yeah, we talked about last time how we were kind of hoping for a hurricane, which is a weird place to be in, right? To come and soak us. And we didn't have to have a hurricane. Of course, Hurricane Beryl went through Houston, which was terrible.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of that rain. Beryl was a non-starter for us.
At all. And we were preparing.
We were hoping for it. That forecast aged me. It made me older because, for a hot minute, it looked like, man, Beryl's going to come right up I-35. It's going to sit and it's going to dump some rain over the hill country. And then it didn't. It went to Southeast Texas and we all cried. And that's the only water we got from Beryl. But we didn't have to have a hurricane in order to fill up some water in the lakes, which is so ironic because we've been begging for the kind of rain that we got in July for years. We've been in drought for years. Lake levels have been dropping almost perpetually since 2018. And to get water and to fill up Lake Travis by, what was it? It was like 7 feet or something. In the driest month of the summer season was weird. The month where we're least likely to get lake filling rain, we got it. Beggars can't be choosers, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So it took a lot of rain for that to happen because the hill country where the rain has to fall in order for it to get into Lake Travis and Lake Buchanan, it's been very dry. So you first have to soak the soil and then you can get water to go down into the lake. So it had to rain like a foot to a little bit more than that across a big portion of the watershed for the Llano River to get that water to get into Lake Travis. So it was something like 22 billion gallons, I think was the math I did, that we added to our water supply. That was enough to get Lake Travis, 5, 6, 7 feet higher. Incredible to do that in July. I cannot overstate how awesome that was.
We got 5, 6, or 7 feet.
Yeah, extra water. So it sounds great, doesn't it? We still need 40 feet to get to full.
Also, we're still in a drought, technically.
Oh yeah. We're still absolutely hurting. We're still in bad shape for lake levels. I mean, we're over 50% capacity. It's fine. It's survivable. We're out of stage 2 water restrictions from the LCRA. I think there was a false sense of complacency that came with that incredible normal July weather, where we got all that rain and everyone was like, "Great, the drought's over. We're done. Woohoo! Party." No, we need a whole lot more water. And even if we get lake levels to 150% capacity, we got to conserve it all, because we've seen over the last 5 years that it just chips away. It goes down and it goes down, and eventually it's just slow brewing disaster. And we're never going to be safe from that ever, unless we significantly stop using water to just keep things green. Just let it die.
Oh my God. Okay, but that's okay. I will take the win. So this year's hurricane season, I know we've already had 5 named storms in the Atlantic. Beryl hit Houston, then Debbie and Ernesto have affected Florida. Yep. So what can we expect, you think, moving forward?
Peak hurricane season overall for the Atlantic Basin, which is the part of the world we care about, is September 10th. That's it. Climatologically, September 10th is when the majority of all hurricane activity has happened. It is going to be a pretty busy peak season time frame. But on that note, for Texas, our peak season is August, because as the season wears on, in general, we're getting closer to getting some cold fronts. And any time that happens, that tends to generally start pushing those hurricanes, making them curve away from Texas. They don't go as deep into the Gulf of Mexico. So we're running out of time in terms of the Atlantic for Texas to get more than what we already got. Yeah. The Pacific hurricane season also has bearing on Texas, not because we actually get any hurricanes that come in from the Pacific Ocean, but the moisture left over from those, that moisture still has to go somewhere, even if the hurricane falls apart. And that can be a huge contributor for our local rainfall projections and flooding. In order for a storm to go from the Pacific to Texas, it has to cross over all the mountains in Mexico, the desert Southwest, all that jazz. So that's upper level moisture that is injected into our atmosphere. And we've always got the Gulf of Mexico. It's always humid. We don't have to worry about that. That supply is always great. But if you add that Pacific moisture supply from whatever storm goes on over there, you can get a huge flood.
When technically does hurricane season end?
November 30th. June 1st,
what?
November 30th. Yeah.
Did you say June 1st through November 30th?
Correct. Yeah. In general, it's August and September. Well, June, I'll say June through September that we care most about in Texas. But yeah, half the year is hurricane season.
I had no idea that we could have hurricanes into November.
I mean, in general, the drop in activity is pretty swift. So in general, it's June through October.
And is there anything that we should be doing to prepare for hurricane season, really?
Here closer to Austin, in general, we really only care about flooding. Sometimes we can get winds that are strong enough from a hurricane to knock out power. But in general, it's not as catastrophic in that department, or long-lived power outages of that nature.
Okay. So I recently heard that the Farmer's Almanac is predicting another big winter storm for Texas in February. Is that true?
Do you have a copy of the Farmer's Almanac with you?
Listen, I do not.
I want you to buy one.
Oh.
And I want you to throw it in the trash. You could do that for me. That would be lovely.
I will do that for you, and then send you a picture of me just like dumping it in the trash. So no Farmer's Almanac.
Trash, fire, however you want to get rid of it. That's your choice. Farmer's Almanac is fairy dust, in the fine words of Matthew McConaughey.
What?
Yeah, it's not based in science. It's not based in reason. Sometimes once every blue moon, it'll get one of its guesses vaguely correct. And then everyone's like, oh, see, the Farmer's Almanac was right, you stupid weatherman. What are you talking about? No, it's just there's nothing scientific about it. Never take what the Farmer's Almanac is going to say with any certainty. Sometimes it's predictions are so broad that it has to be right. Like it's going to get cold in the winter, but it makes predictions that sometimes people try to make decisions based off of that it very rarely works out. It's the same as flipping a coin. Is there going to be a winter storm sometime in January? Flip a coin. That's the Farmer's Almanac.
You know what? I have this vision. Have you seen Twister where Bill pulls up some grass and he throws it in the air to see where the wind blows?
that part, those parts of the Twister and now Twisters always irk me. It's like the wind is blowing that way. That means that storm's going to go over there and drop a tornado on that house. No, there's no one with that gift.
Yeah, that's what you just put in my head for the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah, the Farmer's Almanac, they made a crop circle and they waited to see if 3 aliens would drop down, and then they made their predictions based off that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm passionate about my hatred for the Farmer's Almanac.
I love it.
I hate it because everyone and their mom is like, the Farmer's Almanac, like, throw it in the trash. That's where it belongs. Do not put this into existence. Do not put it on my page. I will explain to you why it's trash. Just don't use it.
Oh my God. So, okay. So should we be worried about a winter storm in February?
I'm not going to say no.
Okay.
I'm not going to say yes either. Here's the thing. The winter storm that is obviously in everyone's mind is February 2021, right?
Right.
That happened in a La Nina winter, which is where we are heading to this year. The general premise for La Nina is that the polar vortex becomes more destabilized, a bit more wobbly, a bit more chaotic. And when that happens, you can get some significant far south dropping intrusions of Arctic air, which is what happened back in February 2021. The thing is that is a potential anywhere in the northern hemisphere. In 2021, we were unfortunately selected at random for that intrusion of Arctic air. Is it possible that happens again this year? Sure. I would say it's possible any year, especially in La Nina. Is it overwhelmingly likely? No. That was a once-in-a-generation event. We had not been that cold since the late 1980s, for example. So, 32 years it had been since we had seen temperatures that cold for that prolonged of a period of time. We were able to pretty reliably know about 2 weeks in advance before the February 2021 winter storm happened that, hey, we're probably in for something big. Anything beyond 2 weeks in advance, it's a crapshoot. So I don't think it's worth worrying about. It's worth being prepared for, always.
Right. Always.
You got to be prepared for everything. Hurricane season, tornado season, flooding season, winter storm season. But it's not worth getting all up in arms about just yet.
I'm really glad that you explained it, because that's the thing. Everything that's on everyone's mind and my mind is February 2021.
That was the hardest week of a lot of people's lives that week in February. No one wants to relive that kind of trauma. So if I can give them some peace of mind and telling them what I can this far in advance, I'm happy to. But I also don't want people to panic. That never solves anything.
Love it. Just as a side note, I'm curious, did you see the Twister movie, the new one?
Twisters? On this little vacation I went on, it's already on demand. Yeah. So we ordered it and watched it on demand. And, I'm with a toddler, so I can't fully pay attention to the movie with a toddler. But yes, I did watch it. And they got the science better than the first one, which I was happy with. But there was still, some theatrical fantasies thrown in there that definitely took some liberties with weather and how it operates. But it was a great film as far as weather movies go, because the bar is low for weather movies, very low. Day After Tomorrow, Twister, you name it, they're all pretty sketchy. But this one, way above the others in terms of accuracy and still being entertaining.
The original Twisters is my sister's favorite movie. She's seen it no less than 187 times.
If she didn't want to be a meteorologist after that, that's like a genesis for so many people. Is Twister.
Nope, not a meteorologist. She loves that movie. And then now she has seen the new Twisters, I want to say 3 times already. And she's going to see it 4D in the theater where they jostle you around in the seats.
With the mist and all that jazz and the thunder.
Oh my God.
That's good stuff. So good for her. I need to sit down and watch it again and legitimately pay attention because I missed most of the plot. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it was fine. And Glenn Powell, man, is he a handsome snack? I
mean, listen.
Woo. I would chase his tornado any day. Don't put that in the podcast.
We will absolutely not. Yes, absolutely not. Avery, thank you for being here with me. This is, as usual, has been a delight. So much fun. I've never had this much fun talking about the weather.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Okay, bye, Avery.
Bye.
Bye. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Avery's social media in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.